Welcome to the Galaxy News Podcast. I'm Tyler Daswick, and joining me live in the studio is Emilio Cariotti.
Hello, everyone. I wouldn't call it a studio. It's it's a living room.
I mean, listen.
It's our studio.
This is as professional as we're going to get.
If an artist painted a bathroom's a studio.
Right. There you go.
Graffiti artists, the streets are their studios.
This is our year-end episode. We're going to...
Wow, whole year. We've been doing this a whole year.
Yeah.
Wow, fascinating.
It's we're going to talk about the movies of 2017, and we're going to end with some recommendations to each other to try out in 2018.
Yeah, try new things. Got to experiment a little.
Right.
It's not just for college, it's for real life too. We're experimenting, we're discovering new things about ourselves, exploring our likes and dislikes, and maybe we do those things with a partner, maybe we do those things with multiple partners.
Maybe with each other.
Yeah, maybe with each other. Yeah, we watch a good movie with each other, and we'll see where the night takes us.
Right, exactly. So how this is going to work, Emilio, is we're going to...
your shoes, by the way.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You know what they look like? I'm sorry to cut you off, but they look like... Have you ever seen Flubber?
Yes.
Yeah, you know how he makes those little gel thingies that he puts on his shoes and he can jump really high? That's what that looks like. He's got Flubber shoes on.
I can't imagine what the listener is picturing, but I guarantee they look nothing like my shoes.
They absolutely do. Anyway, continue.
So what we're going to do, we have very different affinities when it comes to movies.
Yes.
And our tastes were far afield from each other. And so when we tried to make a top 10 list this year, we couldn't because we couldn't agree on it.
We had our own top 10. Yeah, we do have different tastes. You're McDonald's, I'm Burger King. You're Wendy's, I'm Carl's Jr. We're just, different sides of the same coin. We complement.
I'm Fresh, you're Frozen.
That's there's nothing wrong with that. Frozen's gotten people through a lot of holidays.
Yeah, exactly. So we're gonna start. We're gonna ping pong back and forth about movies we ride for from the year, and we're gonna kind of make the case to the other, and then like 2017, we want to end this year with some harmony. So we're gonna talk about movies we agree on.
Like 2017, I think this was like the least harmonious year
we would want to end
U.S. history.
As we would want to end 2017.
Right. That's fine, especially for the movie industry.
Yeah.
Yikes! Yeah, yikes!
God, now that's
what a minefield.
The undertone of the whole podcast.
Yeah. Well, it's all
right. So we've each picked 3 that we want to advocate for, and then we have a lineup of movies that we both loved.
Yeah, we cherished.
So I'll cede the floor. What
to me? Well, thank you.
What's your first pick of a movie?
So my first pick of the movie, which was on the tippity top tip of the top 10 list bonanza, was I put Wind River. Okay. Which I fucking love that movie, and there's a reason I put it on my top 10 list is because as far as like storytelling goes, the writer, which is what the hell's his name? I'm spacing on it now. I'm thinking Hayden Sheridan, but we went to high school with that kid. It is something Sheridan.
It's not Hayden Sheridan.
It's not Hayden Sheridan. That guy, no.
While you're looking at it, what's the premise of Wind?
So the premise of the movie is essentially it's Jeremy Renner, which I'll fucking watch anything with Jeremy Renner in it. Honestly, that guy is
sneaky good. He just makes good stuff.
He just makes good. That guy does good work.
Except we gotta ask the
Hawkeye?
Bourne Legacy is so shitty.
Yeah, but that's not his fault. He did fine in it.
You're right.
It's just the movie was shit, and he would just happen to be in a shit movie. But he himself wasn't that shit.
Yeah.
It is written by son of a bitch. I have a weird Kevin Bacon connection to the writer actually. Taylor Sheridan.
That rings a bell. Why?
Because a relative of his nephew, went to school with us. And it's not Hayden Sheridan. There's another Sheridan who was a year younger than us, who was friends with my sister's boyfriend because they went to school with us. And so my sister's boyfriend, Digger, Digger Dalton?
Yes.
Yeah, he's met him like 15 times.
What?
Yeah, because he's a professional photographer out in L.A., and lo and behold, he's best friends with this guy's cousin. So I have a weird, Kevin Bacon connection to this writer. Which is, first reason I like it, just because I'm I kind of know this guy. Weird connection. I've never fucking met him, but I feel like I know him. And he makes good shit. So anyway, back to the premise of this movie. Jeremy Renner plays a wildlife ranger up in the reservations of Wind River, Wyoming, if I remember correctly.
I think so.
And an FBI, someone stumbles across a dead body, and he has to help this FBI agent kind of piece together this crime. I know it sounds really fucking generic, and there was this other bullshit movie called The Snowman that came out earlier this year that I heard was an abominable snowman of a fucking movie. This is the better version of that. And the reason it's better is because Taylor Sheridan's a good writer. Like, he's made 3 movies, and a 4th one's coming out. He made Sicario, fucking great movie.
Good movie.
He made Hell or High Water,
really
one of my favorite movies ever. If it had come out this year.
Seriously?
Oh, I love that movie. That movie is...
Oh, it was really good.
That movie's really good. If that movie was in book form, I would have read it 100 times by now. You know? Think about that movie and be like, that would be a great novel.
You're right.
It would honestly be like... No Country for Old Men. That's what it reminds me.
that's what came to mind too. Actually.
Right? And he does like these perfect little like short story movies that they have no connection to each other. You know, everything's about fucking sequels nowadays. But this guy's just like, I have a great idea for a story. Write it down. Get this thing produced. And made into a movie. And so now Wind River is his 3rd movie. And it's not my favorite one. Obviously, Hell or High Water is my favorite. But it's pretty damn good. And reviews for it have been okay. It's got like an 87% on Rotten Tomatoes. I just looked it up. Yeah. Which I know Rotten Tomatoes isn't the fucking end-all be-all of movies. But it's a good litmus. Yeah. And a lot of people said that it was slow, but it really picked up at the end. And I will admit, the last 30 minutes of the movie, it was like, holy fucking shit. Yeah, that was amazing. I didn't think it was...
messing around at the end of the movie.
didn't think... That was... I don't want to give too much away, but they do this thing where they meld these 2 like pieces of timeline for the story together perfectly. And the way that they executed this kind of flashback with John Bernthal, I cannot fucking
John Bernthal?
Bernthal. Cannot pronounce that guy's fucking name. He's in everything lately, and I'm loving it, man. Except for The Punisher, which was absolute garbage, which, if this was a TV fucking episode, I would bitch about how terrible The Punisher is. And if anyone's listening, if anyone is actually listening, and they like The Punisher, even if you're the only person who subscribes to this podcast, you can just unsubscribe right now. I don't need you. We don't need you. It's okay.
We don't want you.
It's all right. It's all right. We don't need you. It's all right. Well, I'll take 0 over 1 if that one is the Punisher fan. But yeah, he's in the movie for like 15 minutes, and it's like the best 15 minutes of the entire movie, probably. I love that flashback scene. So yeah, my movie of the year. Cut the tension with a knife in that fucking movie. I love crime dramas, and there's a lot of really bad crime dramas out there because fucking Jesus Christ, everyone thinks you're a goddamn crime artist now. Like, oh, I wrote the perfect crime, like The Snowman. What the fuck was that? What the fuck was that? What the fuck was I watching? Everyone thinks they're fucking like crime novelist genius nowadays.
Yeah.
Like, I'm gonna make this really convoluted thing, and it was the parrot the whole time. The parrot was giving her cyanide. It was like, fuck off with this like twist bullshit. There doesn't need to be a twist. There just needs to be a dead body and a trail leading back to the killers, and it's the journey on how they figure out the crime, how they work together. The fact that he's like this badass like tracker in like Wyoming, and he's just he's cool. He's cool headed. The way he fucking. I don't want to give away the ending, but like, the last like 5 minutes with his like interaction at the very end in the wilds, it's pretty fucking good.
It's pretty badass.
It's a good fucking movie. I highly recommend it. I don't want to give too much away because spoilers. But holy shit, man.
Yeah,
that was my top pick for the year. I love Taylor Sheridan. So.
I'm not as high on it as you are, but I think where you make a really good point is it doesn't pull any punches. It's not trying to fake you out. It's not trying to throw
red herrings. It is a direct movie, and I am so sick of red herrings. I was like, this is a breath of fresh air, which is why I like them.
Yeah,
that is good storytelling right there. Tell me a story. Don't sell me on some crackpot theories or this sort of crap, or have some sort of like agenda. The thing is he doesn't have like an agenda, but every one of his movies deals with a current issue. And my background in school, was political science, where I knew I was fucking interested. So I just love that shit. So if you can tell a good story, then also give like a moral lesson or like a better point of view or a different point of view on something that's happening in the United States right now, then all the better. And a lot of his movies takes place in the West. I think this guy has a real affinity for like the West and sort of like how that's changing and how the West is really, really modernizing at this point. Because people are always like, yeah, California, blah, blah, blah. There's this whole fucking middle part of the country that nobody thinks about. And Arizona is kind of part of that. How many people in Boston that I go to school with are like, oh, Arizona, blah, 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 SB 1070.
It's a different planet.
You guys hate Mexicans. I'm like, okay. We do, but there's also other stuff, you know? And he does a very good job of that, especially with Sicario, because it dealt with narco trafficking and borders and stuff like that, and just fucking crazy stuff that's happening 100 yards away from American cities. Like Nogales is our big border town here in Arizona. Right. Nogales, Arizona is one of the safest places in Arizona in the United States, and right across the border in Mexico, it's like one of the most dangerous cities ever. Yeah. I just drove through it like 6 months ago. It's fucking shit, man. Tijuana and El Paso are the same way. And Hell or High Water dealt with kind of what drove a lot of people to vote, whatever way they voted this past election, and why people felt like they weren't being listened to by people on the coasts. And I thought that was very, very interesting. And Wind River deals with sexual assault on the reservations. And in fact, I think I can't remember if Sicario kind of had the opening title cards where it's I think it ended with 50,000 people die every day.
It's funny. I just rewatched Sicario, and
I haven't seen it in a few.
I honestly rewatched it. I think 3 days ago.
Yeah, it's good.
It's it doesn't make an explicit tie.
Yes.
Its opening crawl is basically tells you that Sicario means hitman.
Yeah, hitman. Him. That's right. That's right. It opens with the definition.
But there is a really implicit connection.
Wind River. I think the reason people didn't like Wind River so much is it was a little bit more direct about that, because it literally talks about sexual assault, and I'm afraid he might be getting a little too big for his britches. I hope, because his next movie coming out is I forget the name of it. It's a sequel to Sicario, so this is the first sequel that he's going to be doing.
Yeah, dude.
I don't know. I'm not discounting it. I know it's a sequel, but I like the guy's work, so we'll see how he does. I forgot what the fuck it's called. It's in post. It's in
Soldado.
Soldado. That's right. God, great titles too. Just very simple.
Yeah.
I'll see how it goes. I like Benicio del Toro. I like the fuck's his face.
I mean, Denis Villeneuve directed Sicario.
Yeah.
He's not on the sequel, which makes me worried. But...
I don't know. We'll see. I am optimistic. Not even cautiously. I think it'll be good. If it's not, fucking tell me I told you so. That's fine. I can deal with it. Yeah. But anyway, I see the floor. What's your thing?
My first pick is War for the Planet of the Apes. I love this franchise, and I don't really know why. I have no affinity to the old Planet of the Apes movies, but
the Charlton Heston one.
Damn
dirty apes.
It made no impact on me.
I don't think I've ever seen it. I've just seen the little pieces where he's they blow it up.
Yeah,
God damn you to hell.
I think they're the standard bearer of movies that don't age well. Everything about them is just so...
Yeah, it's like the original Godzilla. You can't watch that and be like, wow, did you see the iguana?
Yeah.
it's like the original 10,000 BC where they literally had an iguana.
But I loved War for the Planet of the Apes, and I think...
Well, tell me a little bit about it, because full disclosure, I haven't seen a single one of them. I know I should, because they're supposed to be fucking good. But I just haven't gotten around to it because the premise seems kind of goofy to me. I don't know if I'd be able to get into it. But apparently people are able to just gloss over that and be like, all right, yeah, apes can shoot guns.
Yeah, no, so that's a good point, because the sell is this trilogy is a prequel trilogy to all the other Planet of the Apes movies.
This is them taking over the planet for the apes.
It tells you how the Planet of the Apes became the Planet of the Apes. And it centers on the pivotal figure of that movement, the lead ape, Caesar.
Yes.
And
who was played by
Andy Serkis.
Andy Serkis, yeah.
Right.
Who apparently is going to get a nomination this year, but I don't know.
Really?
They're talking about it.
Dude, I would love that.
Everyone's like, he should get a nomination, you should get a nomination. Which, if everyone's talking about it, probably won't fucking happen because fuck Hollywood. But Yeah, if that was the case, Leo would have gotten it for The Departed instead of The Revenant. But
yeah,
whatever. But yeah,
so you are basically asking the viewer to buy into a story where a monkey is the protagonist.
Yes, you have to identify with that ape.
Right. Yeah. Like James Franco's in the first one.
Yes.
He's definitely a supporting actor. Gary Oldman's in the second one. He's definitely a supporting actor.
Yeah.
Woody Harrelson's in the third one. He's definitely a supporting actor.
That's good. I like that.
Right. Yeah. Everything is centered on a CGI motion capture monkey. And I think why this movie is great is they pull it off.
Yeah.
And I think he is one of the great blockbuster characters of...
Would you consider... Is this a blockbuster? Would you consider it a blockbuster?
Yeah, they definitely go for the big set pieces and in this movie especially. I think if you take them all in sequence, there's Rise of the Planet of the Apes, Dawn, and then War.
Yeah.
They try to get bigger with each one, and they culminate in sort of
I'm glad that they didn't fuck it up, because I mean
it's amazing how they didn't mess it up.
Yeah, the first one was okay, and I was like, well, it's okay. I don't really like James Franco at the time. I really didn't like James Franco all that much. So I was like, whatever. Freaking, I don't care. The one with Matthew or the one with Marky Mark and the Flunky Bunch fucking sucks. Why would I watch this?
Yeah.
And I heard it was okay, and then the second one came out, and people were like, it's a fucking masterpiece, and I was like, really?
Dude, it's better than War is probably the second best one.
Yeah.
Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, I think, is an exceptional
It's one of those weird things where the second one in a trilogy is the best out of all of them, because normally in trilogies the second one's shit. You know?
Right, it's the filler.
It's the filler. It's like Alien versus Aliens. I'm an Aliens guy. A lot of people are Alien people. Yeah. Aliens is better than Alien. I don't fucking argue about that for too long, but yeah, I thought it was just a cooler movie. But yeah, it's one of those weird movies.
Yeah, and so the reason I put it on here though is I love how these movies could only be made right now, and they're the best they could be right now with the way that the tech is and the mix of the practical effects and the practical performances with the CGI. Technically they're CGI heavy movies.
I was about to say,
but they don't feel that way at all.
That's good because I'd love to see how these things hold up in a decade.
Right.
Because I mean, if you go back and watch, there's some movies that have CGI, but a mix of practical, like Jurassic Park. Jurassic Park's perfect. Yes. Balanced the CGI perfectly with the practical effects. Yeah. That'll hold up until I'm old, and then on my deathbed I'll be like, this looks like shit. Right, then I'll die. But fuck, I'm trying to think of Transformers looks like fucking shit. It looks like shit now. I can't think of a good example of a bad one, because I was about to say Lord of the Rings, but honestly, the original Lord of the Rings, it still kind of holds up. A lot of the orc and stuff are, practical, which is better, except for when they're in huge crowds. Obviously, you need CGI and shit. But versus The Hobbit, which I saw The Hobbit, the first one, and then didn't watch any of the other ones.
I didn't watch the second ones either.
This is garbage. Yeah, I'm out. I'm out of this fucking life. I'm done. I don't care who likes The Hobbit. I don't think anyone really. They're okay, it was The Hobbit. Yeah. And I think the downfall of that was too much CGI. Yeah. He made it. When did the first Hobbit come out? 2010, 11, something like that?
Yeah, I think it was 2011.
That was 12. From 2007 to 2015 was just overly reliant on CGI. Right. And any movie that's mostly CGI during that time frame will not fucking hold up. It just won't. In 10 years, we'll look back and be like, this is trash. How did this get greenlit? Yeah. And I think people are catching up to that now. Because we just saw in Star Wars, to talk about Star Wars again, we talked about it last week, in a podcast that will never get released. Sorry, audience.
The Lost Tapes. The Galaxy News podcast.
The Lost Tapes. Star Wars was very smart about certain practical effects, like practical Yoda. I like puppet Yoda. Yeah. It's going to look way better in 10 years than CGI Yoda. You go back and watch the prequels. And
there's your example.
Perfect. Ow. Brilliant. Thank you, Emilio. Fucking the prequels are shit. They don't hold up. Yeah. Clone Wars is garbage. I've taken... they're shit. They're shit.
So,
they're shit.
So let me tie this back to Planet of the Apes. I think why the mix of those effects works is because the philosophy of how they're going to make the movie is reinforced by the story they're telling. It's really the story of Caesar. In the first movie, he goes from being just like a monkey to a leader, and he has to start this movement. The second one is, what kind of leader is he going to be? The third one is at actually much more like personal battle, and the performance that Andy Serkis has to give is actually really expressive and nuanced, and even though the language develops through each movie, the apes get more
like the apes are able to like communicate better?
Gesticulating. Yeah, they do sign language and they have very limited
talking.
But here's what's cool about it. Like the first movie, they can't talk at all because the first movie deals with like the experiments.
Yeah, the experiments and stuff, and they're taking over
the
like
second
one,
some of them are signing. So by the third movie, they show how much time, because they're all signing and some of them have started to talk in very limited, like gruff.
So how does Caesar like tell? Is it all just like pantomiming stuff, or
he talks? He's the smartest,
so he could.
He
talk
was like
from the
he was
first
like
movie?
patient zero.
Yeah, so he can talk from like the first movie.
No, and it's
interesting.
The first movie actually has a climactic, dramatic moment
where he like says
he speaks for the first time. He speaks for the first time
at the very end of the movie, and then it cuts to black.
Nah, dog. It's cooler than that. It's cooler than that.
Cool. Good.
So I will ride for these movies because I think they, in the middle of something that is reliant on modern tech and CGI, they made an active decision to tell a character-driven story.
Yeah.
And even though there are set pieces and there's action and all of that stuff, the focus never leaves the characters, and it just flies in the face of every blockbuster.
Dude, that's good, man.
Awesome.
That's good to hear. I really gotta check those movies out. I'm a fucking idiot for not doing it sooner, but I don't know why. Every time I'm like, what do I want to watch tonight? And I see Planet of the Apes, and I'm like, tomorrow.
Right.
I keep putting it off. I don't know why.
Just the threshold is weird. Like,
you
want me to buy into a monkey?
Yeah,
you know?
and just like at the. You have to. I guess you have to be at like a certain moment to be like, I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
I'm gonna I don't know.
Yeah, I bought in. Anyway, what's your second pick?
What I got next on the list? Wind River, and then. Oh man. Oh yeah, it comes at night. Fuck, that was a dark, dirty tale.
It's a tough hang.
Yeah, I thought it was fucking great, and here's why: is it comes at night. If you've ever seen The Road. It's very similar. It's not as like grandiose as that, where there's like huge set pieces and they travel. Not that there's huge set pieces there, but you get a larger scale because they're traveling like across the United States or whatever part of the country.
It Comes at Night just doesn't go very far.
It doesn't go very far, and that's totally cool. Recently I've been very into like Taylor Sheridan movies, where it's a very focused look at a particular story, particular set of people. There's no big journey that these fucking people are going on. Nobody really learns about their self or anything like that, and they have like a metamorphosis. It is a short story, something crazy happens, and it ties up nicely at the end. This one maybe not so nicely. Like there's no like, it's a little bit of a thinker. Sure. And that's why I liked it so much, is because when the movie ended, for a full 7 minutes after the movie ended, I'm like, that was shit. That was a shit fucking movie.
That's honestly where I was.
Fuck this, fuck that. And then 7.01 minutes in, I was like, that was fucking brilliant. What happened? How did I miss that? It took me 7 minutes to talk it out amongst my family, because I watched it.
Oh, God.
My parents weren't there. My parents would not. My dad wouldn't be able to handle it. He watches Reservoir Dogs and kind of like pukes in his mouth. He can't handle like gore or anything like that, which is weird because he's a doctor. He sees like kid comes in with a bicycle shoved up his ass. He's like, take some Benadryl. But he sees like Steve Buscemi gets shot in Reservoir Dogs, and he has to go to the bathroom. But yeah, my mom and dad didn't see it, but it was me, my girlfriend, my two sisters, and one of my sister's boyfriends sat down and watched it. And at the end, we were all like, what the fuck just happened?
Right.
And then we talked about it amongst ourselves, and we're like, oh no, this happened. And then that's why, and then oh my fucking God, it was brilliant. And so what happens, I'll set it up really quickly. It's very, very simple movie. It's like a post-apocalyptic kind of movie where there's some unknown disease or something. It doesn't really even explain.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
It's kind of like The Road, where it's not really explained like what calamity has destroyed Earth.
Yep.
But something has happened where people can become infected, and it's kind of like, it's not like a zombie where they like eat you or something like that, but they become like, you don't even know like what happens. Like you get sick and then you have to be killed because you're either too contagious, you'll make everyone else sick, or you're violent and dangerous, something like that. But you never see anyone really progress that far, because by the time they show symptoms, pow, you're fucking gone, dude, which is exactly how it should be. Because if it was the real world, there wouldn't be any of this Walking Dead bullshit where it's like, oh god, Trevor's gonna turn and... I would if Trevor was sick, I'd cap the motherfucker. God, sorry, dude, this is the world we live in now. Pow, fuck you, get the gasoline, burn his body, I'm gonna go eat some dinner. Like, that's exactly how it'd be in the real world. And it's a very, very, like, authentic... Not that I've been in many apocalypses. It's a very authentic look at kind of like what it would be like. But in any case, I keep getting fucking distracted here.
No, but your point was like the way the movie presents all of those choices and those dynamics, it feels true.
It feels true. It feels fucking heavy. So essentially the plot is there's this family that's living in, I assume in like Washington State somewhere. It looks very much like the Pacific Northwest.
Yeah.
And they have like a cabin in the woods that's secluded. And the beginning opens with one of the members sick. And they're all masked up, like, looking at this member, and they're looking him over and being like, not gonna make it. They load him up into a wheelbarrow, take him out, wrap him up in a blanket, shoot him in the fucking head, and burn his body. They're like, we're sorry, it's the grandfather. The grandfather is, like, dead. You know? Yeah. And the wife whose father was, you know, she's in hysterics, but, like, she understands, like, you know, this is the way it is.
It's presented almost mechanically.
Yeah, it is, because I mean, in this kind of world, it's about a father, his wife, and their son, their teenage son, and the grandfather for the first 30 seconds, and they're surviving out in the wilderness here, and they have very, you know, set rules, like you have to lock all the doors at night. Nobody goes out at night because whatever this sickness is, it's more active at night than it is during the day, and it's just dangerous, too dangerous. And one day, you know, someone tries to break into the house because he thinks it's empty, and they capture him. They do the whole, like, oh, are there more of you? Where are you from? Sort of shit. Yeah. And he's like, you know, I have a sick family, or I have a family, and, you know, we're trying to escape from the sickness. Like, please help us. So he goes out, and he brings these people in. So now you have these two families. So it's two families. You have the original family with their teenage son, and then you have the new family with their young toddler, like, child. The kid's like maybe 5, you know?
Yeah.
And so it's this dynamic of how they're living together and the mistrust between them and how that kind of like spirals out of control. And it's just, it's very heavy. And by the end of the movie, something, you know, tragic happens at the end of the movie. This is not a happy movie. If you're looking for some, like, you know, Walking Dead, people are like, oh, well, The Walking Dead is just the right amount of, this is fucking, it makes The Walking Dead look like a Disney movie, you know?
Yes.
Like, by the end of this movie, you're just like, what the fuck did I just watch?
Yes.
But if you sit down and you think about it, you talk it over with everyone that's in the room, you'll kind of figure out what the director and writer were going for.
Yes.
It's just, it's open-ended, but you come to your own conclusion, and the conclusion that I came to was fantastic, and I thought it was, this was my second favorite movie of the year.
So here's my question, because I saw this, and I am still in those 7 minutes where it was just, it was so relentlessly bleak.
Yeah.
That I can't cross that threshold to be like, oh, but I liked it.
Oh, yeah, don't get me wrong. I didn't have like an epiphany where I was like, oh, it's so happy. No, my epiphany was, fuck, that's dark. But the reason sorry to cut you off, but the reason I like that so much is because that was one of the first movies in a long time where I was left like literally hands going through my hair being like, the fuck?
Yeah.
The fuck? And I had that conclusion. And most movies don't really leave me with that. I'm just like, whatever. The alien, the chest burster blew through her neck, and this is fucking Alien Covenant. And, you know, and I'm like, whatever, it was whatever. I think the last movie where I really had a reaction like that was like The Departed, where...
Oh, word.
At the end of The Departed, which it's been out for 10 years now, so fuck you, Matt Damon has just killed every police officer in Boston and gotten away with it and shot Leo DiCaprio and the one guy from Kangaroo Jack in the face and just got away with it. I was like, me and my sister Federica, we watched it together one day after school, and it was just me and her. Everyone was out of the house, and we're like, oh, this is back when, kids, remember this, where you could actually have DVDs sent to your house via Blockbuster and Netflix, and we were a Blockbuster fan. So we had it through Blockbuster. So we came home. We're like, oh, wow, a DVD. Oh, it's The Departed. Like, put it into the fucking player. We watched it, got to the end, and we're like, I can't believe fucking Leo died. Kangaroo Jack's dead. And Matt fucking Damon's gonna get away, man. He killed everyone. The fucking, god damn it, son of a bitch. Then he comes around the corner, and Marky fucking Mark is just standing there. And we're like, oh my Because you completely forgot about that fucking character until he shoots Matt Damon in the fucking face, puts on like a little mask and like walks away. Me and my sister, literally, it was like Miracle on Ice. Like when we beat the Russians, we jumped up and we were like, yeah, fuck yeah! Like high-fiving, like hugging everything like that. Like, he's a jolly good fellow, he's a jolly... And that cemented Marky Mark as one of my favorite actors of all time. Mainly because of that scene and Boogie Nights, Marky Mark can do whatever the fuck he wants. Yeah. He can do 2 hours of him taking his shit on a plastic transformer, and I'd be like, brilliant.
I mean, he's done that now, like for like 2 movies.
Yeah, for 2 movies, 4 hours of that. I haven't seen him, but I'd be like,
you forgive him for it.
You get yours. Make that money, Mark.
One for them, one for you. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah. Fuck it.
Awesome. That's It Comes at Night. My second pick is, I don't know if it's in my top 10 for the year, but I will remember watching it very distinctly because it just did something different for me. Is It? I don't like horror movies. I don't really mess with them.
No, I'm a pansy, man.
I'm with you, dude. I don't really go see them in the theater. I rarely rent them or stream them or whatever. It's not fun.
Yeah.
It when I was thinking about the movie, it's almost like a blockbuster horror movie.
Yeah.
In that it kind of has this fun, adventurous 80s vibe.
Yeah.
You get these ensemble kids who are all great.
Yeah.
And it gives you the most like bombastic, bonkers villain in Pennywise the Clown.
Yeah.
And it just does a bunch of cool shit with it. Like where there are legit, like, I've said this a bunch, like, this is going to get kind of buzzwordy, but like horror set pieces, I had never really thought of that concept until this movie.
What do you mean? Like horror set pieces?
So like a horror, like, so I think a horror movie like builds and builds and builds, and then the climax is when like the house becomes the monster, or like the demon comes out, and like...
Yeah, like Poltergeist.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Everything builds to like this climactic, maximum scare moment.
Yeah.
It has one of those in the first 10 minutes of the movie.
Yeah.
And then 40 minutes in
the original movie kind of did that as well, and that's what, like...
Was that the miniseries on BBC?
No. The actual, like, original movie, right? That came out... That was the movie that came out with, what the fuck's his face?
Tim
Curry played Pennywise.
I thought it was a 2-part miniseries.
Oh, it might have been. I watched it as a movie when I was younger.
Oh, okay.
Blockbuster. Thanks, guys. Rented that
Sponsor.
One. But yeah, it opens up in the same way where he drags that kid into the drain and eats him, and that was like, holy shit! I fucking shit my diaper. I was probably that young when I watched it, and that's pretty much what that and the movie fucking Identity, not the Bourne Identity, which is a mistake I made that led me to watch Identity, the movie, but
I've never heard of it.
Yeah, it's with John Cusack. It wasn't that great, but at the time it was some fucking scary as shit. I saw him like back to back. But yeah, the original It, I think, did that very well. And from what I've heard, the new one like mimics that perfectly.
Yes.
Like does it perfectly.
Yeah.
And that and Stranger Things are two like these 80s sort of like things that are happening. I mean, everyone's jizzing over the 80s nowadays, and the 70s is sort of taking over. I think in the next 5 years we're going to see a lot of like 70s inspired stuff, like, you know, the one show on HBO, The Deuce. Great fucking show. But yeah, I heard that It did that perfectly.
Yeah, it just, I had never really had it. I had never really walked out of a horror movie before, but that was a really fun time.
Yeah.
And it was. I met up with a buddy in Philly and saw it, and legit, like, popcorn horror movie. Yeah. Where normally I'd be so stressed and so like, God, this sucks. And like,
yeah. It's loud, and I hate jump scares because I'm a pansy.
You know, this one just threw a bunch of stuff at you, and it's funny, and it's, you know, it's sometimes dramatic. It does the creepy thing, and it does, like, the big, like, we're just going to gross you out for a second sort of deal.
Yeah.
It just tries all these different tactics. I thought it all worked. I don't know. It's not a perfect movie, but it was a blast. And I had never had that with a horror movie before, so I wanted to shout it out.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. I I will probably man up and see it in like a year. I don't know what it is, man. I just and I've seen like horror movies before. I mean, It Comes at Night's not like not scary.
Yeah.
There's a couple of like scenes in there where I like kind of like tensed up a little bit. I wouldn't consider it a horror movie per se. I think that's kind of what it marketed it as, because if you watch the trailer,
that's totally
it looks like a horror movie, and that's what turned me off from it at first.
Yes.
But then everyone started talking about it. Like, damn, dude, have you seen this movie? It's like a sleeper hit. It's short. It's not a very long movie. I think it clocks in like an hour and 40 minutes, with credits.
Yes.
But yeah, it looks like a horror movie, but it's not. And I like those types of movies where it's like, it's scary, but it's not dependent on horror. Because I think pure horror movies kind of suck in my opinion. They don't really have anything else kind of going for them.
It Comes at Night just kind of, the word that came to mind as you were talking, it filled me with just dread.
It was dread. It was a dreadful movie.
Yes.
Yeah. If Dread could be a movie, it would probably Judge Dredd, but but if actual the feeling would be It Comes at Night.
Yeah.
Fuck, that was a good movie. Watch it, audience.
Yeah.
Watch it, Spider-Man's penis.
All right, and your last pick, something I didn't even know existed until we
Wakefield?
were talking about the show. Yeah.
Yeah, we were talking about the show like a week ago, and we're like, hey, we have a microphone. Maybe we should talk into it. And we were like, what movie should we fucking talk about? And I recommended this movie called Wakefield, which I saw the trailer for it. Just every once in a while, I'll just jump on YouTube and I'll look up old trailers for movies that I really like. I really like trailers. Trailers are like little mini movies.
Yeah.
Like a good trailer is sometimes better than a movie. Sometimes I've seen a trailer and I'm like, damn it, that trailer's good. And then I went and saw the movie and it was shit. But I'll go back and watch the trailer like 100 times.
Can I quick tangent?
Yeah.
You know what did this is a perfect example of that is American Sniper.
Oh, yeah.
American Sniper
is a perfect 2-minute movie.
Has an awesome trailer.
Awesome trailer.
But then the movie is bad, dude.
It's not. It's horrible.
Okay, let me hedge. It's not bad.
Yeah. It's got a political agenda. Take it as you will. It's fucking Clint Eastwood, so just take it as you will. Man. He's coming out with them. His next. Guess what his next movie? God. Do you know? Did you see it? How the fuck are you making a movie out of that? I barely forgot that it happened. Yeah, French barely forget that it fucking happened, and it happened on their own train. For those of you who don't know, Clint Eastwood, who I think is a fantastic fucking director.
Yes. Good movies.
The past two, American Sniper was all right. I mean,
American Sniper was all right.
It's not. If you don't like Chris Kyle, fine, don't watch the fucking movie. But like, I'm not a huge Chris Kyle fan. I've read both of his books. I know a lot about the guy. The
books are revealing.
The books are revealing. My takeaway is it's kind of a dick. But I watched the movie because I like to see this man's perspective. Like, he went to war, something that less than like 3% of Americans do in their lifetime.
Yeah.
And I wanted to see his perspective on it, and it was all right. Wasn't his best war movie. Fucking Letters from Iwo Jima is like one of my favorite war movies.
That's an all-time war movie.
That's an all-time war movie. And so Clint Eastwood just gets a pass on this.
Yeah.
And what I will assume will be a very mediocre, like, 15... It's like 1535 to Paris. That's like the name of the movie.
Corny.
Some really... It's like Pelham 118.
Yeah. I thought Sully was solid, though. Did you see that?
Sully?
Yeah.
Yeah, but that wasn't Clint Eastwood, was it?
Yeah.
It was?
Yeah.
Nah, I never saw it.
That was pretty good.
I was like the same fucking thing. I'm like, well... Okay, he landed.
Yeah.
Like, what's the calamity here? Everyone's fine. There's no like tragedy. There's no like hardship. It's there's a goose in the engine, and we're in the river.
Well, it actually focuses on we're getting off here, but like it on like, was he in the right to like land on the river? Apparently, there was like a big legal.
Yeah, no, I remember, and that's why he's a divisive character where people are like, that guy's a fucking idiot. But then it's like, whatever, disaster happened on the job. Like, no one's ever fucked up on the job before. Guess what? You fucking up on the job at the office involves you putting the wrong ink toner in there. No big deal. This guy's flying a fucking airplane with 300 people. He's gonna fuck up because he's a human being, and guess what? Flying an airplane is his job, okay? From time to time, he'll just kind of zone out and not really pay attention. You do it when you're driving all the time. It's no different flying an airplane. You're just in charge of 300 people's fucking lives.
Right.
He's gonna fuck up. He unfucked up the fuck up. That was the important part. Should he have landed in the river? I don't know. Everyone survived. The river's fine. Apparently the river didn't suffer at all. It's fucking fine. Everyone lived, right? So everyone should just calm the fuck down about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I didn't watch it. A Flight with Denzel Washington came out around the same time, and I watched that. I assume it's way fucking better because it's like just a more interesting story. Flight's pretty good. It's not bad.
Okay, anyway, all that is to say, Wakefield's trailer.
Wakefield's trailer is magical. And honestly, here's another subgenre that I really like, and it's mostly used in literature, and it goes by a couple different names, but I know it as fantastical realism. And Guillermo del Toro does this a lot. Like, his movies are very heavy, like Labyrinth and what's the Dark Water, the movie, the
Shape of Water.
Shape of Water. Haven't seen it yet. It has one of my favorite characters in it from Hellboy. I assume that's the same like ape sapien like character from Hellboy, right?
Oh, I don't know.
In Hellboy, one of the people who helps Hellboy is the fish guy. I think his name is Ape Sapien. I haven't seen those movies in forever.
Yeah.
But he's part of a government project that goes back to the Cold War, and they've been keeping him. And so I think this is his story about like him getting captured and this woman falling in love with him and fish sex. I assume. but yeah, so fantastical realism is a story where it takes place in like a realistic setting, but like magical, whimsical stuff will happen around in this setting, and you have to kind of suspend belief.
Yeah, you accept it.
You accept the fact that clouds talk in this universe, you know?
Right.
And it doesn't get that ridiculous, but it's sort of like, the, not the movie, but the actual like short story of the like Fantastic Life of Walter Schmidt. Like the Walter Schmidt short story.
The Walter Mitty?
Yeah, Walter Mitty.
Secret Life of Walter Mitty?
Yeah. Exactly. If you've read the short story version, I heard the movie wasn't that great with Ben Stiller. He can't do drama. He can't stop doing drama, Ben. Just go back to not Zoolander 2, but something. I don't know. Fucking figure your shit out, man. Yeah, the actual short story, it kind of reminds me of that, where the point of the movie is there's this guy played by Bryan Cranston, and he's, a lawyer in New York, and he's got the life, and the kid's in, like, the suburbs of New Jersey, I assume, in a nice house, drives a Mercedes, but he's just, like, overworked and stressed, and he's not really a lovable character. He's a dick. He's kind of like a selfish dick throughout the entire movie, and essentially what he does is he shows up back home one day, and he chases like a raccoon up into the attic of his garage, which is like detached from his house, kind of like across the street. Okay. And he realizes that from this vantage point in his attic, he can see perfectly into his kitchen, his dining room, and he sees two daughters and his wife there, who's played by...
It's not Jennifer Garner.
Yes, Jennifer Garner.
It is? Okay.
Yes, he's played by Jennifer Garner, who is... I love Jennifer Garner. Beautiful woman, beautiful actress. Well, I'll watch her now. 13 going on 30, seen it 1,000 times. Elektra, I close my eyes and I just listen to her beautiful voice. Daredevil, whatever. But, yeah, she's, he can see perfectly into, like, his family's lives. And he just kind of decides to stay up there. And he has opportunities where he's thinking to himself, like, I should go back in now. Like, I should go back in and be like, hey, I'm fine. Because eventually the wife starts to worry and she calls the police. And all of this is happening while he's up there just in the attic. And he spends like the next couple years up there, just kind of like living in the attic, and it's all narrated through his perspective. So he goes through like, it's kind of hard to explain, but it kind of does this a little bit in the trailer. Like he mimics what his secretary would say when his wife calls asking where he is, and what the police are probably talking about, and how funny it would be, and how crazy it would be if he just walked in and he was like, surprise! Right, and everyone like drops their champagne glasses in the middle of like, a Christmas party or something like that. And what he slowly realizes over time is that his family is better off without him, and that he's actually just been a really selfish person his entire life, and that his wife would be happier without him, and this is the most time he's ever spent with his daughters, and he's across the street in the attic, but he can see into their lives, and that's like the most time he's ever spent getting to know his daughters. Yeah. And it's just, it's very magical. And it kind of reminds me of, like, It's a Beautiful Life and stuff like that. Like, what would happen if I... that Christmas trope where it's like, I wish I was never born. And then the ghost of Christmas past comes and is like, this is what Tiny Tim wouldn't be alive if, like, you had never been born sort of shit. It's very much like that. And I thought it was just a really cool story. I like Bryan Cranston. He's so far hasn't really disappointed me in anything. Yeah. He's been in some disappointing movies, like fucking Godzilla, where he's in it for 5 minutes. Yeah. But he himself was really fucking good. Just the movie wasn't that good. But yeah, I love Bryan Cranston. It's a really fucking cool movie. And I think it was an IFC movie.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So it just went under the radar.
Yeah.
And honestly, like a lot of reviewers didn't like it. Here's how you know a movie's good: either reviewers fucking universally liked it, or it's like 50%.
I get you.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Where it's like, it's 50% sometimes in my mind is better than a 99%. Because that means dead down the middle, this guy fucking hated it, but this guy fucking loved it.
Yeah.
You know?
And it took some chances.
Exactly. It took some chances. And if you don't like it, that's fine. Like, fuck you. But that's fine. But, no, I'm kidding. Everyone has their own tastes. Yeah. But I liked it. It was a cool movie. You should watch it.
I will. And, okay, speaking of movies, you should watch. Listen, my last movie, I can't believe you haven't seen, is Blade Runner 2049.
Yeah, I'm just not a big Blade Runner fan.
Dude.
I don't know. First one's kind of boring. Wow. I get it. The last 5 minutes where he's talking about the winds of Mars or whatever is fucking phenomenal. But
yes,
it's okay. I can see why people didn't like it when it came out.
Yeah. No, I get it. And this one weirdly is sort of following that path. I think it's going to kind of have the same.
Yeah,
cycle.
I heard a lot of people didn't like it.
Yeah. But I mean, a lot of people thought it was a masterpiece.
Yeah, I know. Other people thought it was one of those 50-50 things where I think I'm on the descent. I haven't seen it, so I really can't have an opinion, but if it's like the first one, it'll be pretty dry.
I didn't think that at all. I like it for two reasons, and I like it this year for two reasons. The first is it is an amazing theater movie.
Yeah.
Where So Denis Villeneuve, who we've talked about already on the show, he did Sicario and Arrival and Enemy.
Loved Arrival.
Arrival's dope.
Yeah.
He also did this movie, and it is just a spectacle.
Really? I heard it looks beautiful. From the trailer, it looked like gorgeous. It looked like eye candy.
It's astonishing. There's some sort of... I can't believe they faked that.
Yeah.
And other stuff that you can tell they built... is amazing, and it all complements the rest. The lighting services the production and the sets, and it just is a total splendor. And so it requires you to go see it in a theater, which I like.
Fuck. All right, I got to see it soon, I guess.
Yeah, man. I saw it in IMAX twice.
Damn.
That was great.
How long is it? Is it like 3 hours?
It's 2.5, dude.
Yeah, I saw that coming.
Yeah. But, it also is good theater, for the sound. There are some moments in the movie where the sound forces you into your seat.
Really?
And it comes at certain, moments of plot.
Yeah. I will say the first one was very much like that, where the aesthetic... I love the aesthetic of Blade Runner.
Yes.
There's some things that I love about the original Blade Runner. The story and dialogue was not one of them. What I will say is that it was very aesthetically pleasing, and the sound was, beautiful.
Yeah.
It's very 80s, so if you don't like 80s, pop culture, you probably won't like this, because it's like a culmination of... It's the 80s, but takes place in, the 2015 or whatever. It takes place, around this time.
Yeah. Imagine some weird LA.
Yeah, into weird futuristic near future LA. And it's fucking cool. There are some aspects about that are just fucking cool. And I love Harrison Ford. I was never in the camp of this is amazing. And my dad is a huge Blade Runner fan. My dad loves the original Blade Runner.
Cool.
In fact, it was one of the first movies that I ever went out and my dad, the reason I'm into movies is because my dad was in movies, he just introduced me to a lot of movies. Yeah. One of the first ones he ever introduced me to was we're going to sit down, Emilio, we're going to watch Blade Runner.
Cool.
And I watched it, and I was like, I don't know what the fuck happened. I just shit my pants. I'm 5 years old, Dad. But maybe in 30 years I'll appreciate this more, but I still haven't really appreciated it too much.
Yeah. I think if the new one has any weakness, it's like the old one, pretty plot heavy.
Yeah.
That just leads to some the gears stick every now and then.
Yeah, I think that's my biggest problem with the first one.
But, if you're into just the way it looks and the atmosphere it creates, the new one does all kinds of stuff to kind of blow out the future that the first one creates. And so that's kind of my second point with it. It is a sequel or a reboot that nobody asked for. When I heard it was coming out, I was like, that is going to suck. I hate that it's real.
That's the thing. I had no negative I saw new Blade Runner's coming out. I'd be like, cool. I hope it's good.
Really?
Yeah.
I was the total opposite. I thought it was the embodiment of every cynical Hollywood idea of no one can make a good original idea anymore. Yeah. And the movie justified itself. It is good. So of a piece that it's excellent. It is made with so much craft and thought and consideration. Its story doesn't do anything to compromise the mysteries of the first one, which are really essential. And it tells a really fucking cool story in its own right.
I'll check it out.
I love it.
You know what that kind of reminds me of? Where sort of similar thing was the first Star Trek movie, the new one that came out.
Okay.
Star Trek. I think it did that. I'm not a huge fucking Trekkie. I seen a couple of the movies because my dad's actually was really into Star Trek back in college, and so. Again, early movies that I saw as a kid on like TNT or TBS or whatever. I think it was Superstation. Back when Superstation before it was like TBS, I think. Yeah. They used to play like Wrath of Khan and stuff like that like all the time. And I'd seen those movies as a kid. I thought that the J.J. Abrams movie was like that too, where it was somebody who really gave a shit, really liked the world that they were working in, and added something to it without copying it directly and being like, oh, this is pretty much just rehashed bullshit, but with cooler like CGI and stuff like that. So that's good to hear. I'm glad. I'll check it out.
And also, man, your guy Ryan Gosling is really good at this
movie.
Good.
I'm glad. I like Ryan Gosling in some things, but in other things he's kind of annoying.
Yeah, he's.
So I love Drive. I like Place Beyond the Pines, but I didn't give a fuck about not Hollywoodland. La La Land. I didn't give a shit about that movie.
He's well cast in it.
Whatever. The movie's like, I don't care. I get it. It's the 60s. Like, fuck off.
Whatever. Yeah.
60s, like, Showtime Singing in the Rain. I don't know. Whatever. Well, that's cool. All right. So I got some bad news.
What?
We're at 51 minutes.
Holy shit.
Yeah. I mean, we'll cut some stuff out. I'm sure some of my fucking aimless ramblings. I'll just cut that stuff out. But do you want to make this a two-parter?
Yeah, we can.
Yeah. Just because we only hit 1/3 of what we were planning on doing.
Yeah. So real quick, do you just want to do like the video games?
Yeah. I mean, do you want to talk about like the next part, or we can breeze through that because I don't just have the one video game to talk about. And
okay.
I don't want to give too much away. There's no way that'll take more than 10 minutes. Okay.
So
It's 1:00 right now.
Let's keep the rest to a half hour. Can we do the rest in a half hour?
Cool. Okay. Cram it. All right. What are we doing now?
All right. So we're going to movies we agree on now. Movies that are on both of our lists.
Yes.
This is where we just fanboy out.
Yeah. We just all over the place. We'll clean up later.
The first lay down some tarps.
Yeah, we'll lay down some tarps. I got baby wipes, so it's okay.
Yeah, I got you. Okay. The first movie we're going to talk about, and we're gonna do this quick. We talked about it so much last week.
Yeah.
Star Wars: The Last Jedi.
Oh yeah,
dude, it's good.
It's good.
This movie's really good.
Fuck fans. I don't give a shit about like why your feathers are all ruffled and like, oh, it didn't follow the canon. I don't give a fuck about canon. Right. Canon means nothing. Canon means nothing. Have we learned nothing for just whatever is written is written. If you don't like it, then fuck, man. You don't really like that story. It's okay. Just forget about it. There's petitions to remove this movie from Star Wars canon.
What?
To get the director fired. Are you fucking kidding me?
That's absurd.
Who directed this? Ryan Johnson. Yeah, I love that director, by the way. I thought the movie was fucking fantastic. You know why? Because he's a good fucking director. He just got greenlit for his like own trilogy. Yeah, fuck it, dude. I feel like Star Wars fans are the most spoiled brats on the face of the earth. They're giving you what you want. Just everything Star Wars. You're getting fucking video games. You're getting fucking movies. You just got greenlit for another fucking trilogy, you assholes. That's so much more content. You don't like it? Don't read it. Don't watch it. If there's a shit Star Wars book, you don't burn it like a fucking Nazi. You just don't read the fucking thing. You don't like the movie? Get the fuck over it. It's fine. Like, if you don't like the movie, leave a bad review. Just being like, it wasn't for me. You know, half a star out of 5. Roger Ebert doesn't. Well, he's dead now. But when he was alive, he didn't go fuck this movie and the horse it rode in on, and I want the director fired. Who does that?
Yeah, it's absurd.
It's pissing me off. You can tell I'm so pissed off because I'm a huge Star Wars fan, and it was fine. I'm not the biggest canon. I haven't read all the fucking books because honestly, I don't think the books are canon at all. It's just bullshit that some writer came up with in his fucking basement. Someone's like, we can market this and sell this for money, and they did it. And it doesn't fucking. It's just side story crap that it's interesting, and I love backstory on certain parts. Like I love. One of my favorite series of all time, video games, Halo. And not the new shit, the original trilogies. Don't even get me fucking started on this 343 crap. But But the original trilogy is awesome. And I used to read the Halopedia all the time and like backstory. And guess what? That shit would change daily. I'd be like, oh, the Covenant are a part bird. I'd be like, wow, the Covenant are a part bird now? And then the next day I'd get on and look up like, the elites. The elites are part bird. And I'd go on and go back onto the elite like Halo page the next day and it'd be like, actually they're part turtle. And I'd be like, yes, they're fucking part turtle now. Right. You know why? Because it doesn't matter. It's fucking fake. It's like, it doesn't matter. People stop freaking out. It's okay. The world isn't coming to an end. There's going to be another Star Wars movie. There'll be as many Star Wars movies as you fucking want. As long as you keep giving them money, they'll keep pumping it out. And someone somewhere will give you a Star Wars movie that you can actually like. Most spoiled fucking people. Guess what? The prequels, they're shit, but they're Star Wars. You got what you fucking wanted. They gave you 3 more movies. You didn't like any of them. You turned your nose up at everything that they gave you. And then they were like, all right, they were shit. We fired Lucas. We dissolved the fucking guy's company. I have no idea what this guy's doing anymore, but he ain't making movies. Right. And we're going to reimagine it and give it to someone who everyone universally thought was going to do a good job, J.J. fucking Abrams. Yep. And he gave you what you wanted, and you still turned your nose up at it. At that point, you are the asshole. If every movie sucks, you are the asshole. Like, that, every movie can't suck. It's impossible. It's impossible for all of them to suck.
Yeah, I agree. I think, this is one of the few movies of the year I love it for the things it tries and fails at.
Yeah, it took chances.
Yes.
Did it hit its mark? No, but that's called taking a chance. And from that failure, there will be better accomplishments in the future.
Right. And I just think it's telling too, like, no one has a problem with like the way they told the story or the way the movie was made or written. It's just, this isn't the character I thought.
Yeah, this isn't what I liked about it. The fucking, guess what? The Force doesn't matter. That's the whole point of the goddamn movie. There we go.
Yeah. Case closed.
Case closed. Fuck that. Fuck them. Fuck fans. Fuck all of you. It was fine.
It's a good movie.
There was nothing wrong with it.
It's a good movie.
Except for the casino scene. Whatever.
Disposable.
I give a shit about the casino world, but other than that, it was a fine movie. Anyway. No complaints.
Second movie we have The Disaster Artist.
Yeah, that movie was good. It was fucking funny.
I wanted this movie to be great.
It was
bad. And it was really good.
Because, damn it, dude, James Franco is a talented motherfucker. Have you read that guy's resume? Motherfucker does everything. He teaches at NYU while he was taking classes, and he got 2 masters, and he's like an Olympic champion. He does everything. That man is literally the most interesting man in the world. He doesn't look like it. You took one look at James Franco and be like, who's the fucking theater kid from high school? Yeah. But goddamn, he's smart. He's talented. He did soap operas. He got so bored with regular acting that he was like, fucking man, I'm gonna challenge myself and do soap operas. That's why I fucking love James Franco. Motherfucker's always challenging himself. He's always trying to be better.
This A-list Hollywood actor in the prime of his career was like, you know what? I'm gonna do a run on ER.
Run on ER.
That's incredible.
Days of Our Fucking Lives, man. And he was great in it. I saw those episodes. He was just schmarmy, charming dude. He just played himself. And goddamn, dude, it was awesome. He's cool because he just does his own thing. And I don't know if he's a cool person in real life. It seems like someone that talented and beautiful can be a schmarmy prick. Yeah. But I don't know. I want to believe that if I met him in real life, I'd fall in love with the man. Like, I would be like, take me to bed.
Dude, at the least, he's a good interview.
At the least, he's a good interview. He's done everything. He does fucking comedies with Seth Rogen. He does dramas. He did Flyboys, which, hey, wasn't that great, but fuck it. He was in Spider-Man.
Flyboys made for some good jokes in This Is the End. And that's why
did.
I'll give Flyboys a pass.
Flyboys is great because This Is the End is shit on Flyboys for a good 15 minutes of that movie. He was in fucking Spider-Man.
Crazy dude.
God damn it, dude. He did great. I love him. I love that guy.
I think this
and his brother's awesome too. Fuck it, he's also in the movie.
Yeah, and this movie's just such a good example.
Dave Franco is hilarious.
Of James Franco being like, you know what? I'm gonna make a movie about a book that's about another movie. Yeah. And here.
First off, Hollywood loves that shit. Hollywood loves movies about Hollywood. Hollywood loves movies about Hollywood.
Yeah.
And this is
La La Land, case in point.
La La Land, case in point. Fucking, what the hell's the name of that one movie?
Well, there's Ed Wood. Also,
with Tim Robbins. What the hell is that one movie that everyone fucking loves? Hold on, I'm gonna look it up right now. Oh boy. The Player. If you haven't seen The Player, you should watch The Player. It's actually a really good movie.
Okay.
But yeah, they love movies about Hollywood, and this is one of those things. It's kind of critical of Hollywood and the way that it operates and stuff like that, but also it's just like, look at this crazy motherfucker.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, yeah. What the hell's the name of the guy?
Tom Wiseau.
I always want to say Steve. Tom Wiseau is nuts.
Yeah, legit a crazy guy.
Yeah. But it's crazy. It's crazy to see, like, you know, people always talk about Goblins 2.
Trolls 2.
Trolls 2, that's it. Trolls 2 and Birdemic and all that stuff. And everyone's like, oh my god, who made this movie? Like, I'd love to meet. This is that guy. This is the motherfucker that makes movies like that. This is U-Boll. I fucking love U-Boll. Because that guy is crazy as shit.
Yeah.
Tom Wiseau is like U-Boll. And this movie's fantastic.
Yeah, and it doesn't just treat him as a punchline.
No, it doesn't. It really delves into his life and, like, I mean, the guy's, I don't want to make any judgments, but he's fucking crazy. There's got to be some screws loose. Yeah. But the whole movie isn't like, hey, look how crazy this clown is. Look at him. Ha, he's a laughingstock, pie in the face.
Right.
It literally is looking at this guy who is, I'll give it to him, he's very passionate about movies. He has no idea what the fuck he's doing, but I can appreciate the passion. Maybe, you know.
It's just so interesting that, like, it's a movie about these guys, and Greg Sestero too, like, these guys don't have any talent.
No.
But they just do it anyway.
Good for them. Like us.
Yeah.
Yeah, fuck it. We got nothing. So.
Yeah. It just, I just thought it was great. I mean, one of the little scenes of the year, I guess it would be a cut of the year, is when Greg Sestero, Dave's character, has to make the choice of go do the Malcolm in the Middle appearance
with Bryan Cranston or
stay
stick with the
and
movie.
Keep doing The Room.
Yeah,
and it's they do a really good job. They capture it in the beard. He has to shave the beard for The Room or keep it for Malcolm in the Middle.
Yeah,
and they cut and he's shaving it.
Yeah,
it like kind of hits you a little bit. Really good movie.
Yeah,
it's well done.
Yeah.
Our next one, this is interesting. This was kind of on the bubble for me.
This is Baby Driver?
It's Baby Driver.
Yeah. Okay. I put it in my top 10s list. I don't know why I did that, but I did.
No, but here's the thing. The first 15 minutes of Baby Driver are toe-to-toe with any 15 minutes in any other movie this year.
Not any other movie.
Okay,
any other, like, action, like, heist movie. It's a good heist movie.
Yeah. I mean,
and we didn't really have that year. So of all the heist movies, it's the best heist movie, but it's also one of the only heist movies.
Yeah.
So
I thought it was better than Logan Lucky.
Oh yeah, I guess
movie.
Logan Lucky's good because I like the Ocean series. And it's redneck oceans.
But yeah, they're solid.
Yeah, they're good. They are what they are. Good director. It's what the fuck's his name?
Soderbergh.
Yeah, Steven Soderbergh. I'm terrible with names, by the way. So yeah, I'm always like the guy, and then Tyler will back me up.
Okay, but why are you going back and forth on Baby Driver?
Baby Driver has like some character like plot holes that don't make any fucking sense to me. So most of the movie's good. The dialogue's hammy, but it's like that on purpose because it takes a lot of
It's a gimmick.
It's very gimmicky. It's gimmicky, but it does it in a good way. Like the music's obviously awesome. That was like a big thing. Was like if you love music, you should watch Baby Driver because it's very music heavy. Obviously, the writer and director. I don't know who actually did it.
It was Edgar Wright.
Oh, was it really?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Good for him. Yeah, he's really into music, so that makes fucking sense. Right. You know, yeah, all three of them are. He's really into music, so that makes sense. The biggest problem that I had was Kevin Spacey, and not for the fucking reasons that you think. I get it. He's a pervert. He should be shamed. That aside, just take his performance, because I saw this obviously before we found out that it was confirmed that he was weird.
Right.
Everyone always had suspicions that the guy was a weirdo, but now it's out in the open.
Right.
Which is anyone really that surprised? Kevin fucking Spacey. But, yeah, the biggest problem that I had with him was for the majority of the movie, he was this very intimidating figure who was very powerful and used that power to influence a young man, much like he does in his personal life, apparently, and like forced him. The kid was trying to like get out of the fucking life, and he got this girlfriend. He's like, I'm out of the game. I paid my debt back to you. He's like in debt to Kevin Spacey, and Kevin Spacey is like this takes place in Atlanta, and he's like this big boss, like criminal mastermind boss,
right.
and
crime lord.
crime lord sort of thing in Atlanta, and he does like bank jobs, and the kid Baby Driver fucked him over at some point, and so he owes him. So at this point in the story, he's done his last job, he's out of the life, and for a few months, everything's good, he's out, but then Kevin Spacey comes back, and he's like, you're gonna do this for me, or I'm gonna kill that sweet little piece of ass you got, and I'll fucking kill the blind, deaf, old black guy that you're hanging out with, and I'll slash your tires, too, and pour sugar at the edge, and he's like, oh god, not the tires. Yeah. And then he's like, alright, fine, you hard son of a bitch, I'm in for one more job. And then he fucks up again, and Kevin Spacey's like thinking about killing this guy that he considers his son. He's got this weird father-son relationship, right. But it seems very fake. Like he's using this father-son relationship to intimidate and manipulate this kid. Yeah. And then literally one of the last scenes with Kevin Spacey before he gets run over by a fucking car is he has like a shotgun pointed at the two kids, the Baby Driver and his girlfriend, and they're trying to get away and go down to like, Tucson or something with the top off and jump off a cliff like Thelma and Louise style. And he's like, he has a chance to be like, fuck you, you fucked me over, you ruined this job, I'll kill you. Yeah. Which would totally be in character for him. And then he goes, what the heck, you two are in love, I'll help you out. And he does like a complete 180 for no fucking reason. Right. And he has the money, he has the shotgun, he's got his Bentley in gear, ready to get out of there and start his new life, not in Atlanta, gets out of the car and sacrifices himself to save this person who 30 minutes ago in the movie, he was threatening to kill his girlfriend and his old black man. Right. Right. Like, it didn't make any sense. He literally jumped on a grenade for this motherfucker. Yeah. It doesn't make any sense. And I was like, what the fuck? Why would he do that? Why would he do that? That doesn't make any sense. He was like, oh, you remind me of me and my wife, and I'll totally get run over by this car for you. I was like,
it was almost like there was like a weird contract change where they were like, because John Hamm like overtakes him as the villain in the movie at the very end. Yeah. And they're almost like, oh shoot, like we cut too much John Hamm out of this movie, and his contract said he needed 20 minutes of screen time. We need more Hamm. So we got 20 minutes of more Hamm. It's just so weird. And
I like the change. I like the fact that John Hamm ended up being the bad guy, but that doesn't mean that you have to swap out Kevin. They can both be bad. Right. Just make Kevin Spacey like bad, but then he gets what's coming to him, and then John Hamm is like the final boss. But he doesn't. Kevin Spacey's like, Hamm's the bad. I'm gonna sit this one. Okay, cool. I'm the good guy now, guys. I'm good. I'm the good one. John Hamm, run me over with your fucking Corvette.
Yeah, it's just silly.
It was. That's why. Other than that, the movie's fine. I don't know why.
It's a good movie. It's better for like moments.
Yeah. There are a couple cool moments. Like the music's unforgettable. Good car chase scenes. Movies. There aren't a lot of movies that use like good car chase scenes. Born Identity is one of them. Death Proof's another one. I always fucking love Death Proof.
Death Proof is sick, dude.
Apparently, that is Quentin Tarantino's least favorite movie he's ever made.
Yeah, he said that.
Don't know why. That's one of my favorite movies that he's ever made.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, he loves Jackie Brown, and I could give a shit about Jackie Brown.
I don't remember anything that happens in that movie.
I don't care. Guess what? I don't watch Tarantino movies for mature, coherent dialogue. Yeah. That's not why I go. That's not why I go for. I want crazy ass tension building dialogue, and Jackie Brown has none of that. Meanwhile, Death Proof is just tension. It's very just tense. Oh god, I haven't watched that movie.
My favorite Kurt Russell.
Yeah, I fucking love Kurt Russell, and thank God he's been having his second wind because he's in a bunch of stuff now. I love Kurt Russell. He's my favorite 80s action hero. Then Arnold Schwarzenegger, I guess.
Yeah. So, I guess when I want to watch Baby Driver, I'll just watch Death Proof.
Yeah, exactly. Watch Death Proof, fuck Baby Driver. Yeah. It's alright. You should watch it once. I watched it in theaters. It was cool, I guess.
Yeah.
I love Jamie Foxx, and I love John Hamm, so I'm glad they're in it. And guess who's in it again? Jon Bernthal. Jon Bernthal's in it for the first 5. He's in fucking everything, but so far he hasn't had his own star centerpiece yet. I'm waiting for
Punisher.
Fuck that. Doesn't fucking count. I'm talking
a good one.
Good one. Movie, not The Punisher. The Punisher's fucking garbage.
I don't even know what, if not The Punisher, I don't even know what that role looks like for him, though.
I have no idea. They gotta figure it out. He did really good in Wind River, and he didn't play he didn't play badass ex-Marine. I mean, he was buff and kicked the shit out of some people, but he was very vulnerable in that scene, and you'll understand why. Yeah. It's very vulnerable, man, yeah. As someone who has a girlfriend, a long-term girlfriend, that kind of fucks you up, that sort of like situation, because that shit does fucking happen.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's very vulnerable in that scene, and he did really well. I fucking love that actor. Yeah. It's funny that he came from The Walking Dead. It's like kind of a throwaway character. They killed him off like second season, you know?
Yeah. And he was probably the best part of that show.
He was the best part of that show. After like season 3 or 4, I was like, I'm done with this.
Yeah. I stopped when he was killed.
Yeah. Nah, you should have watched like 2 seasons. The next 2 seasons afterwards are actually pretty decent. But
okay.
Then it gets shit again, and it's been mired in garbage since.
Yeah.
Okay, unless you have something to add about Baby Driver.
No. All right, last movie we're going to talk about is Logan.
We got 20 minutes, by the way. 20 minutes.
Okay, Logan.
I love Logan.
Logan's really cool.
That made my girlfriend cry, that movie.
Dude, closest I came probably this year.
Yeah, it's damn good. And my girlfriend really loves movies about, like, fathers and daughters and sort of stuff.
Okay, sure.
And so that was very much, that's like a...
Hit a sweet spot.
Yeah, it hit a sweet spot. It reminds me, the dynamic between the two reminds me of, if you've ever played The Last of Us.
Yes.
Yep. It's that same sort of dynamic.
Dude,
where
I bought a PlayStation 3 in college
just to play that fucking game.
Uncharted 1 through 3 and Last of Us.
Don't have a PlayStation 4. I was house sitting someone who had a PlayStation 4, and I was there for like 2 weeks, living in this guy's house. And I went out and bought a limited, the new edition, the remastered edition. I have it on my thing. I don't have a PlayStation, but I bought it just that and Uncharted. I have a copy of Uncharted 4 as well.
Nice.
Bought them just to play it because that game is fucking excellent. And this reminds me of that. So the premise is, if you don't know anything about the Wolverine or anything like that, don't worry about it. You don't really have to watch any of the... This is a good
aspect of this movie.
Standalone.
All the other X-Men stuff doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. Standalone. If you haven't seen any... This one and the Wolverine, which is the one before it, is the same way, which is why I actually like the Wolverine. Same director, too. And writer, I think.
James Mangold?
Yeah, I think so.
What
the fuck was I going to say? Yeah, it's a good standalone movie. Essentially, the premise is Logan is played by Hugh Jackman, and he plays the Wolverine, he's a superhero, I guess. He's a super neutral. He's like the most neutral superhero, pretty much.
Yeah.
And it takes place in the near future where there's a race of humans called mutants, and they look, they're some genetically mutated, and it gives them some powers and stuff like that. And in the near future, humans have exterminated them, essentially, like in genocide. They are afraid of them, and so there's always been this tension, this war between humans and mutants, and at this point in time, the humans have won, and mutants are in a handful. There's a handful of mutants left in the world, and they're dying off. And so this story takes place with a group of mutants who are kind of surviving out in the deserts of, like, Texas-Mexico border, and lo and behold, there's a young girl who comes to them and is given to them for safety, and she's a mutant, and so she's the first newly born mutant in a long time, and so they have to try and take her to safety just like they fucking do with The Last of Us. Is a very similar story where she's the key and is a young girl and is an old grizzled man who's seen too much of this world and doesn't want to see anymore, and now he's given this task which is like impossible for him. And they have to take her to North Dakota in the Badlands, up into the Canadian wilderness to go and escape and survive, and it's fucking good. It's a good movie.
Yeah, I probably like the idea of the movie more than the movie, but
really interesting.
But here's it's also one where I can't really remember any nits I would pick.
I didn't think I had a single problem with that movie.
I love that we finally had a franchise comic book movie that threw up a middle finger to every other comic book movie.
Yeah.
It was like we were talking about with Star Wars. Like, you listen to James Mangold talk about the movie, and someone asked him, it was on the Q&A with Jeff Goldsmith, a movie guy. He does a podcast.
Yep.
And he asked James Mangold, where does Logan fit within X-Men canon? And James Mangold said, that's a stupid question. I don't give a shit.
Yeah. Thank you. Canon doesn't fucking matter.
He said he was insulted by the question. Yeah. He's like, who fucking cares?
It doesn't matter. It's not about the universe as a whole. It's just about these characters.
Yeah. And I thought that was played out to its absolute max and to maximum effect, the decision at the end, like, we'll ruin this movie because we want to talk about it, like, they just kill him.
Yeah.
And they're like, you know what? Like, it's over. This is going to be the defining story.
Yeah, this is the end.
Yeah.
You see the last moments of, like, this invincible person.
Right.
You know, when you see him get torn down.
Yeah, I mean, I think, like, I guess the main issue I'd have with the movie is I wish they had just done a villain instead of, like, the literal dark version of himself. I thought that was kind of lazy.
Yeah, they shouldn't have had, like, a clone of him.
That
was very, like, Terminator Salvation.
Right.
Where they did, like, like young Arnold. That is true.
If they had just embodied that in another character...
They should have just had, like, a different character who they made with his abilities. That would have been fine. But then it wouldn't have worked out. We're going to... right. There's a part that we can't talk about that makes sense for this, but, like...
Right.
And it's a very telling climactic part. I don't necessarily understand.
You're right. That's a good point.
Yeah.
That's a good
That's
counter.
the only reason that I can forgive that is because of that one scene.
It's
which
a good
is
counter.
one of the most important scenes of the movie. Because it's literally like Yoda dying, you know?
Yes.
It's the Yoda of that franchise dies in this movie, essentially.
Yeah. But I think this is... You know, off the dome, and I might be forgetting. This is my favorite Hugh Jackman movie.
Yeah.
This is my favorite Patrick Stewart movie.
Yeah.
And
the little girl did an amazing
job.
Little girl's
awesome.
That actress is going places.
She's really good. She's perfectly cast, and you know some of the Western stuff.
I love it. I love the fact that the West is alive in movies right now. You know, it's coming back.
Yeah.
I like that because the West right now is developing and it's changing, and it's the West right now is that bridge between the old and the new. And
right.
yeah, I mean, we live in Arizona, so you can walk right out. I mean, look at this house. This house is like brand new, right?
Yes.
Fucking model home bullshit. But you go to Old Town Scottsdale and you have like actual cowboys out there that are still like
right.
They get around on like horses and stuff like
man.
that. It's this weird dichotomy of like the old and the new coming together.
Yeah. And this movie is the perfect
encapsulation of that. Which is why Hell or High Water did that exact same thing between the
right.
old and the new.
Yeah. I hope, you know, to turn this into a look forward, I hope comic book movies, I hope there are more Logans.
Yeah, I hope there's more Logans. I hope there's more R-rated, good R-rated.
Yeah. You know, honestly, movies. Like, I don't have high hopes. I don't either.
I think Avengers is the new model for superheroes.
Yeah.
Which is, I mean, take a look at Netflix. Every Netflix series that's coming out, it's like, oh, this is part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I don't give a shit about the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I don't care. I don't want a fucking universe.
Right.
The universe already exists in comic book form. You don't need to make a movie or TV show on every fucking comic book.
Yes.
Some of them suck.
Right.
And worse yet is if you ruin a fucking... like, I love The Punisher. The Punisher's a fucking great goddamn superhero.
Yes.
Superhero quotes. Because he doesn't have any fucking superpowers.
He's a great character.
And they fucked it up in The Punisher. And do you know why? The Punisher was the anti-Logan. It took zero risks. It took those middle fingers and turned them into peace signs. It was like, what the fuck? The Punisher is supposed to take risks. It's supposed to be bad. It's supposed to be like bad for him. He constantly gets beat down and stuff like that. Yeah. Nobody got hurt. It was like the A-team of like superhero movies. Superhero shows. Logan is the anti-Punisher, which is why I love Logan so much. And the same reasons I like Logan are the same fucking reasons that I hate the Punisher.
Yeah, I just wish, and I will tie Logan to Blade Runner in this way. I just wish more movies and properties were okay with implying a world instead of showing it to you.
I know.
Logan implies this universe where mutants are living in secret and exile and have been, you know, decimated, and the way Logan is immediately positioned in society is so distinct and tangible.
Yeah.
You can define it right away.
I think...
And Blade Runner does the same thing with its characters, and I wish that approach was more universal instead of, you know, we're going to imply, we're going to first hint at this, you know, other part of the world, but we're eventually going to take you there. I don't need to see it. I don't need to see it.
Here, can I ask something about Blade Runner? Was there a B story, or was it just A story?
it's such a huge movie.
Really?
Then there technically is.
There is, but it's not.
But
it's not like 50-50, right? Or even 60-40, where it's like 60% A story, 40% B story, right?
There is. Here's how I'll describe it.
Yeah.
There is one plot with
Yes.
Blade Runner. The characters have different little arcs that service A and B.
I think I have a theory where a lot of these movies are able to accomplish this sort of like very focused storytelling, which is, I love focused storytelling because the Marvel Cinematic Universe is a perfect example of this, where I hate the Avengers movies. The Avengers, I get it, they're a good time. Like, they're good for what they are.
This is a hot take we share.
Yeah. I really don't like them because they just do too much. You get 20 minutes of everyone's fucking story per movie. What the fuck? That's not worth like $20, man. That's not worth sitting in the theater for. At this pace, it'll take 30 Avengers movies to tell like any like one story. We have literally 15 movies about each character, and then like 3 or 4 huge movies about all of them together, and it pretty much have just told one big story. It's too big. It's too fucking grandiose. Yeah. And I think the reason that Logan and Wind River and stuff do a good job at not doing that is because there's really just a story.
Yes.
There's no B story.
That's a great point.
There's just the A story, and that's all I need. It comes in nice the same thing. We don't see other survivors hiding out and seeing like how they're interacting, and there's this culmination of them coming together. Logan's the same thing. Like, there's an implied universe of people living like rats because society will kill them if they find out what they are, but there's no like Anne Frank character in an attic that we snap to show us like how deplorable these conditions are. It's fine. I don't need that. I just need to know what's happening with Logan and the girl and the professor. That's it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right, that'll do it for movies of the year. We're going to close with quick fire recommendations to each other.
Yes.
How much time do we have?
We have 10 minutes.
Great.
Perfect. 5 minutes each.
This is going to be fast. You are going to sell me on a game called Hellblade. Yeah. I'm going to sell you on a game called Inside.
Okay.
You take it away.
Okay.
Give me the elevator pitch for Hellblade.
Elevator pitch. Okay, first off, Hellblade, Senua's sacrifice. Sounds fucking terrible. I get it. It sounds it sounds like a campaign in Dungeons and Dragons. I get it. That's why I didn't really pay that much attention to it. But essentially, the elevator pitch is you have Senua. It takes place in like the Celtic sort of region, like, the wilds of Ireland. Okay. During like, when they were painted their faces blue and very tribal like Ireland, and a group of Vikings comes and decimates this woman's village and just like eviscerates people. There's scenes of people being just like mauled. It's very gory. It's very, very gruesome, gory ass video game. But her lover is just like eviscerated and hung up in a tree and stuff like that. And she's a lone survivor of this calamity, this tragedy that's befallen her village. And it essentially gives her psychosis. And she has these voices talking in her head that's like implied to be gods.
Okay.
But you don't really know if it's actual gods or if it's her psychosis, because it takes place in sort of like a fantastical realism where there's just some elements of like magic and mythos and stuff like that, like mythical gods of like the old world, like ancient Greece and stuff. So you don't know if this is actually just her psychosis talking to her, and she's interpreting it as the gods, or if it's actually the gods like they don't really tell her to get revenge. If anything, they're against you. So it's very interesting. I haven't played too much of it. It's not a very long game because it's an independent game, so they just don't have the money to make it that long. It's about 7 hours. You can blow through the whole thing in about 7 hours. Pretty decent.
Cool.
But like when you're like fighting an enemy or something like that, the gods, and they sound beautiful. Like the recordings of like the gods whispering in your head. It reminds me of, I think someone said that it was like in Lord of the Rings, whenever you hear like the voices kind of in his head, or the queen, the elven like queen kind of like trying to manipulate people in their heads. It's that sort of recording. So you'll be like fighting an enemy and you'll like, miss a block, and the gods will be like, "You're weak, wait."
Whoa. Okay.
Like die. They're like rooting against you the entire time. And there's a lot of movement. There's actually not a lot of combat. A lot of it has to do with like navigating around your surroundings.
Cool.
And there'll be multiple ways to get to an objective, and so you'll hit a fork in the road, and you'll be sitting there, because if you make a wrong decision, it could really fuck you over and kill you.
Yeah.
You'll be sitting there being like, all right, which way do I have to go? And you'll be thinking this to yourself, and then right on cue, the gods come in and they're like, which way do you have to go? Is it right or is it left? And then you take a left, and it's like, oh, left. You sure that's the right decision? You know, and you'll keep going, and they'll be like, we think you made a wrong choice. You're weak. You're not going to make it. You know, sort of thing. They're constantly like rooting against you in this, like, and it's her like telling them to shut up. It's literally like playing a schizophrenic. Honestly,
dang,
it's really interesting.
That's cool.
It's just a very visceral. You should watch the trailer. It's a very like visceral like game. The combat leaves a little to be desired. Because the combat animation is so fucking difficult to do that most games just do like mocap now, and that costs so much goddamn money that like a small independent theater, and your independent production studio, is not going to be able to do that. Yeah. So the combat leaves a little to be desired. Luckily, most of the game is now focused on combat. There's a lot of puzzle solving, and most of it's good. There's some puzzles that are like, but. As far as story goes, damn fine story. Sleeper hit of the year, in my opinion.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right, so Inside.
Yes.
Has to be talked about very carefully because it is the less you know, the better it will be. It is the type of game you start. I don't think there's even a start menu. When you boot the game, you are playing it.
Interesting.
And it's a side scroller, kind of like 2.5D sort of.
Yeah, you said it was like Limbo.
Yeah. That gameplay style is replicated.
Yeah.
You are a little boy. In the background of the opening minutes, you see some sort of like authorities or agencies with flashlights trying to look for you, and based on the boy's body language, you can tell you are trying to hide from them.
Yes.
And so there you go. And that is the premise of the game, is you continue to go left to right, and you have to try to understand why based on the things you see and interact with. Mm-hmm. If I remember correctly, there's no text. There's very, very little audio aside from just like the environmental sounds. It's a total ambiance atmosphere. But here's what I'll say and why I recommend it. There is a wrinkle in this game that I will never forget playing once. And it had my mouth literally...
A wrinkle? Like a twist?
It's a wrinkle.
Okay.
My jaw dropped, and it stayed there until the end. It is one of those that changes or affects the way it involves you as a player in the story in a way that is so creative but also twisted that I haven't been able to get out of my head.
Interesting.
I
love those
excellent.
games. It happens every once in a while. It's like movies, where it's like original BioShock was like that.
Yes.
Too, where I was like, what the fuck just happened? Sort of like thing. Yeah.
Right.
That's cool.
It is excellent, and there is no explanation for any of it. And so if you are into the kind of it comes at night sort of thing where it will end and you'll be like, what even was that?
Yeah.
This hits it.
Damn.
This does that exact thing, and it ends, the credits roll, and then you can start over. And it's just one single story. It takes probably 3 hours to play. It is, that's all I'm going to say.
Interesting.
It's great.
Hours. You got this on Steam? You play?
I got it on Steam.
Yeah.
I'm not a huge PC guy. It's not very demanding.
I could probably get it on this laptop. I don't have a great laptop.
It's on Xbox One.
It's okay. It's
like $10.
Cool. Yeah, I'll definitely check that out.
You can play it in an afternoon.
Yeah, it's the same thing with Hellblade. It's 7 hours. Like, just clear out at Saturday.
Yeah.
I know you're a busy guy. You're way busier than I am. But yeah, I mean, it doesn't take very long at all. It's not very punishing, I guess. That's cool. Yeah, I'll have to check that out.
There it is. That is what's the subtitle of Hellblade?
Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice.
Senua's Sacrifice.
I know, it sounds way lamer than it is. They really should have chosen a different name.
And that is Inside also, which you can get on Steam or Xbox One, PlayStation 2, PlayStation Store.
Yes, cool. Cool.
That'll do it for the Galaxy News podcast this week. Emilio, if people want to find you on the internet, Where can they find you?
YouTube, I guess. I can link dump pretty much everything that we've been talking about. Like any trailers or anything that I mentioned, I'll just link dump at the bottom.
Cool. We can do show notes.
Yeah, it's show notes. Link dump it at the bottom. And I, honestly, funny thing is, I actually can't remember what my YouTube username is because I haven't used it in so long to like upload anything. But once I upload this first episode, I'll just
or you can re-record.
Like I'll put it in the bottom and just put a little I'll put a little something in there. You'll know. But Tyler, where can they find you?
You can follow me on Twitter at Tyler Daswick. That's Daswick with a D and an S. And you can read my culture writing at relevantmagazine.com.
Yeah, hopefully this goes well. And we'll see you next week when Tyler's back in Orlando, Florida, and we'll have to figure out how to do this.
Yeah. Are you going to be broadcasting from Austin?
I have no idea. When I'm there next week, I can bring my gear. I didn't think about that. Yeah. We'll have to do something.
All right. So they can stay tuned.
Stay tuned. We'll see what the fuck we're going to talk about because the next 3 months of movies looks like...
It's a desert, my man.
Garbage. Maybe we'll just do
there's some good stuff on Netflix. Black Mirror is coming back.
I haven't watched any of Black Mirror.
Dave Chappelle.
Oh, yeah. I can talk about Dave Chappelle.
We talked to
He has a couple new coming up? Or the ones that he just released?
So you remember that 3 special deal that he signed? So he did 2, right?
Yes. He's got another one. The next one coming up.
A third one. But he just announced that it's not 1, it's 2.
Make that money, Dave.
Yeah.
I bet he was like, fucking cutting this shit into 2.
Yeah. So that's coming out New Year's
Those specials were hysterical. I was
They're really funny.
So goddamn happy that turned out. Because call me skeptical. Dave Chappelle was one of my favorite fucking comedians growing up. I loved Dave Chappelle. And Louis C.K., but, trash. How the mighty have fallen.
Yeah.
But yeah, Dave Chappelle was one of my fucking favorites, and when he took his little hiatus, there was a lot of controversy surrounding it, and I didn't know what was what. I didn't want to believe that he had gone crazy native, some bullshit like that. Yeah. I just assumed that he got tired of the Hollywood bullshit. Turns out he got tired of the Hollywood bullshit. He came back stronger than ever. The man is a cultural phenomenon right now, mainly because of what the fuck's going on in the country. But he's like he's a personification of that, and his 2 specials shed a lot of light on a different perspective. You may not agree with it, and that's totally fine. Everyone can have their own opinions, but I thought it was a very unique perspective, something that we haven't seen in a long time, and I'm glad Mr. Chappelle is back from the dead.
I'm with you. All right, we'll talk Dave Chappelle next time. Ladies and gentlemen, all 3 of you, thanks for that, man.
Fingers crossed, man. I don't know if we can get negatives on YouTube, but we'll be the first.
Thanks for joining us, everyone. That's the Galaxy News Podcast. We'll see you next time.
See you guys.